The world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you believe. And most people, they don't believe. They wish. They hope. They wait. But belief is rare, because belief demands a decision. It demands you walk through the storm as if the sun is still shining. It demands you move like a king even when no one has handed you a crown. Let me ask you something. What would change if you acted as if everything in your life was already working for you? Not some things, not most things, everything, every delay, a setup, every rejection, a redirection, every loss, a lesson disguised as mercy. The men who rise don't rise because life makes it easy. They rise because they decide to act as if life is already preparing the throne. Henry Ford did not wait for permission to change transportation. He acted like the world needed him to do it. And because he believed it, so did the world. That's the secret most never grasp. Reality bends to belief. It does not answer to doubt. It does not obey the passive. It moves when you do. And so many of you are waiting for signs, for affirmations, for perfect timing. You wait for the world to validate your worth. But the wealthiest minds in history moved before results. They moved while the room was silent. They moved while the evidence was invisible. You are not broke because of your circumstances. You are broke because of your posture, because you walk like someone still begging the world to see you. But the world doesn't respond to need. It responds to presence. Andrew Carnegie didn't step into steel because someone gave him a blueprint. He stepped into it because he saw empires where others saw smoke. This is the war most never win, the war within, the war where fear fights belief, where the past battles the future, where you're forced to choose. Will you act as if everything is working for you, or will you shrink once again to fit the comfort of the crowd? It is a violent thing to believe when you have no proof. It is a dangerous thing to rise when nothing is clapping. But that's what makes you unstoppable. Not results, not praise, but the ability to walk like the door will open, even when it hasn't yet. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times to produce the light bulb. Did he stop? Number. He acted as if the answer was already there, and that belief, that conviction, summoned it. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And when you become certainty, not theory, not potential, but living, breathing certainty, then nothing can resist you. So ask yourself, do you believe enough to act like it? Do you believe enough to invest, even when there's risk? Do you believe enough to rise, even when you've fallen 10 times already? Because the world will not wait for you to be ready. It moves for those who act like it already belongs to them. And yes, the path will test you. It will strip you. It will place you in rooms where no one claps, in seasons where no one calls. But if you can hold your vision through the silence, you will not just survive, you will command. You see, most people misunderstand power. They think it comes from titles, positions, paychecks, but real power, the power that creates, that draws, that dominates, comes from within, from the man who speaks to himself with clarity, from the man who wakes up and acts like his dreams are already on the calendar. Act as if you are the answer. Act as if every resource is already in motion. Act as if the outcome is already written in your favor, because when your mind accepts that truth, the world cannot help but respond. And yes, they'll laugh. They always do. They laughed at Ford. They laughed at Edison. They laughed at Walt Disney when he said a mouse would build an empire. But they weren't acting for approval. They were acting from vision, from belief, from a fire so deep that no rejection could extinguish it. That is your inheritance. That is the bloodline of wealth and creation. Not money, not access, not permission, belief. Your thoughts are the architects of your future. And if your thoughts are infected with hesitation, you will build hesitation into every area of your life. So begin now. Begin to walk differently, to speak with the cadence of certainty, to look at your goals not as ideas, but as inevitabilities. Your energy is your announcement. Your posture is your promotion. Your belief is your resume. Act as if everything is working for you, because when you do, the universe listens. And not only does it listen, it aligns. You are not designed to wait in the corner. You are not born to bow to doubt. You are here to build with your words, reign with your thoughts, and execute with your fire. The man who acts as if cannot be shaken, because he's not responding to the world. He's creating it. And that's what this is. Not motivation, not hype, but the awakening of something ancient inside you. A force that refuses to bow, a vision that cannot be ignored, a belief so loud even your enemies feel it. Do not wait for signs. Be the sign. Do not seek validation. Be the voice. Do not chase opportunity. Become the opportunity. Act as if everything is working for you, because once you do, everything will. They told you to be realistic. They told you to be cautious, to stay grounded, to plan for disappointment. But let me ask you, what has playing small ever built? When has hesitation ever written history? You are not here to manage expectations. You are here to master your inner world so completely that expectation bends to your will. The man who acts as if everything is working for him does not play defense. He does not beg for outcomes. He does not fear resistance, because resistance is proof that something real is forming. You've been conditioned to interpret pressure as danger, but pressure is not your enemy. It is the forge of kings. It's in the friction where fire is born. It's in the silence where steel is sharpened. It's in the darkness where identity is defined. You want to know why most men never rise? Because they are waiting for clarity. But clarity is not given. It is claimed by those who move before the fog clears. They act as if the path exists even when they can't see it. And by acting, they make it so. Walt Disney stood on swampland and saw a kingdom. They mocked him. They sued him. They called it fantasy, but he moved like it was real. He spoke as if the walls were already built. He dreamed so loud that the world had no choice but to hear him. This is not delusion. This is dominion. And it's available to anyone who has the courage to act like the future is already here. Listen to me. You are either reinforcing doubt or reinforcing destiny with every decision you make. Every time you shrink, you build the cage. Every time you rise, you widen the gate. So stop asking, what if it doesn't work? Start declaring, what if it's already mine? Because that question, that shift, is the beginning of sovereignty. You were not born to serve fear. You were not designed to worship uncertainty. You were made to direct your mind like a general commands his army. With certainty, with purpose, with unshakable resolve. Do not mistake uncertainty for weakness. Uncertainty is the battleground. And on that battleground, belief becomes your weapon. Belief is not a feeling. Belief is a decision that says, I will walk anyway. It says, I will build while they laugh. I will sow while they sleep. I will rise while they wait. And when the harvest comes, and as it always does, the man who acted as if will not be surprised. He will simply nod because he saw it coming. The world rewards the man who moves with inner evidence, not with luck, not with hype, but with conviction so heavy it cannot be ignored. And that man could be you. If you stop arguing for your limitations, if you stop selling yourself stories of why you must stay small, if you stop treating your dream like a hobby and start treating it like your identity. Do you want to know the difference between average men and exceptional ones? Average men wait for belief to come. Exceptional men act in its absence, and in doing so, they create it. They speak before they are heard. They build before they are funded. They lead before anyone follows, and they do not apologize for it. Because deep down, they understand what you are beginning to understand. The outer world is a mirror, and that mirror only reflects what you dare to display. You walk in scarcity, scarcity reflects back. You walk in fear, fear echoes louder. You walk like you're chosen. Then doors appear where walls once stood. That is the game. That is the revolution of the mind. It is not about the world shifting for you. It's about you shifting so powerfully that the world must respond. But here's the truth. Most will never taste this power because they are still addicted to their doubt. They are still loyal to their insecurity. They are still negotiating with the opinions of people who have never built anything. But not you. Not anymore, because you now understand what your soul has whispered all along. That belief is more powerful than circumstance. That posture precedes provision. That wealth, opportunity, impact, they do not come to the most deserving. They come to the most certain. And certainty, my friend, is earned in silence. In early mornings, no one sees. In hard decisions, no one claps for. In silent commitments, no one validates. That is where you rise, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, because the man who acts as if everything is working for him does not need attention. He needs only one thing: alignment. And when your thoughts, words, and actions align with the future you claim, the world adjusts. You are no longer chasing. You are calling. You are no longer hoping, and you are commanding, because the mind that is ruled by vision cannot be ruled by circumstance. Let me say that again. The mind ruled by vision cannot be ruled by circumstance, and that is what makes you unshakable. So stop checking your reflection in the world's mirror. Stop asking the world for permission to rise. Stop waiting for someone to hand you a moment. You are the moment. You are the spark, the shift, the revolution your life has been waiting for. Now walk like it, speak like it, build like it, because when you do, when you finally decide to move like it's already yours, there is no man, no market, no enemy, and no failure that can stop you. The future does not belong to the hesitant. It belongs to the man who walks in storms like they're streets of gold, who sees the delay and calls it divine timing, who looks at the closed door and builds another entrance. The man who acts as if does not just win. He redefines the game. And the moment you become that man, the world will no longer ignore you, not because it finally saw your value, but because you finally believed it first. There comes a time when a man must decide who he is, not based on what has happened to him, but based on what he chooses to believe about himself from this moment forward. That moment is now, because you cannot afford to keep living as if you are at the mercy of life. You cannot keep handing your authority to events, to people, to moods, to numbers. You are not here to be a thermometer, rising and falling with external temperatures. You are here to be the thermostat, the one who sets the atmosphere and demands the world adjust to it. And how do you do that? You act as if. You act as if your voice already has weight. You act as if your vision already has backing. You act as if the doors have already been opened. And you walk through them, even when they're not visible yet. Because the greatest truths are often invisible until you walk in them. Most men never get there. They negotiate with their potential instead of marrying it. They touch their dream with one hand while holding fear with the other. But that middle ground, that lukewarm life, it's where dreams go to die. If you want to rise, you must burn the bridge between you and who you used to be. You must declare war on doubt. You must break the contract you signed with mediocrity and write a new one, sealed with action, built with discipline, defended with resolve. Because greatness is not found, it is claimed. And the only way to claim it is to live like it's already yours, to walk like you've already won. Not because you're delusional, but because your mind no longer accepts anything less than truth. And the truth is this: you were never broken, you were buried, and now it's time to rise, not slowly and not softly, but with force, with certainty, with the fire of a man who has seen himself at war and chosen victory anyway. You see, belief without behavior is fantasy, and behavior without belief is slavery. But when belief and behavior align, when thought and action lock arms, you become unstoppable. Not just successful, not just respected, unstoppable. Let them call it arrogance, and let them call it delusion. You are not here for their applause. You are here for your assignment. And that assignment is to act as if, not because it feels good, but because it is the only way to create the world you were born to build. Helen Keller had no eyes to see, no ears to hear. But she believed in herself so fiercely, she became a voice to generations. She acted as if her message mattered, and the world agreed. She did not wait to be empowered. She empowered herself, and you must do the same. Act as if your life is already in motion. Act as if your business is already thriving. Act as if your future self is already watching you, asking, will you finally become the man I was born to be? because that future version of you exists, not in dreams, but in decisions. And every moment you hesitate, he waits. Every time you shrink, he is delayed. But every time you act as if he moves closer. Your power is not in your resume. It's in your rituals. You are what you do when no one's watching. You are what you believe when no one is validating. You are what you pursue when no one is clapping. Because the crowd doesn't build kings. The crown is earned in solitude. Let me remind you, Lincoln led through division, chaos, and war, with a cabinet full of critics and a nation split in two. He was mocked, doubted, hated, but he walked with moral clarity and personal conviction. He acted as if his values would outlive the hate, and they did. Legacy doesn't come to the loud, it comes to the clear. Clarity is the rarest currency in a world addicted to noise. So how do you find it? You stop chasing what's popular. You stop waiting for mass approval. You stop mimicking men who don't know who they are. And you start moving like a man with inner certainty, with unshakable purpose, with a decision that does not wobble in the wind. Because if you cannot lead yourself through darkness, you will never hold light. This is your responsibility. No one else can own your belief. No one else can carry your vision. No one else can do the mental reps that make you a fortress. You must master your inputs. You must guard your thoughts like treasure. You must speak only that which aligns with your vision, and reject every word, every doubt, every story that tries to convince you otherwise. Do you understand the weight of what I'm saying? Every time you speak limitation, you cement it. Every time you think small, you shrink your kingdom. And every time you compromise, you trade your crown for crumbs. But the man who acts as if everything is working for him, he moves with no apologies. He speaks with no contradiction. He walks with no retreat, because his mind is already made. And when your mind is made, the world bends to match it. There are no shortcuts, no magic formulas. Only this: believe so completely that your actions leave no room for doubt. Do not ask if it will work. Ask if you will work it. Do not ask if it's possible. Ask if you're prepared to become the kind of man who demands the possible obey him. That's what Ford did. That's what Carnegie did. That's what every man who reshaped the world did. They moved like it was already finished, because in their minds it already was. So the question is not whether life will give you what you want. The question is whether you'll act like you already have it, until reality catches up to your posture. Do not perform belief. Become belief. Let it saturate your tone. Let it frame your gaze. Let it rule your decisions. Let it shape your stride, because the man who becomes belief no longer waits for results. He becomes the result. And when you become the result, the world cannot ignore you. You're not here to fit in. You're not here to wait politely for your time. You are here to walk with the posture of a man who remembers the truth. You were chosen the moment you chose yourself. And now the final war is upon you. Not the war around you, but the one within you. The war against every voice that says, slow down, tone it down, dim your light, wait your turn. But I tell you with full fire and no apology, this is your turn. This is the hour when you no longer pretend to be uncertain. This is the moment when you stop renting your confidence from outcomes. This is the decision that divides the man who was from the man who must become. And that decision? To act as if everything is working for you until everything does. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Most men lose long before the battle. They lose in the mind. They lose in the story they keep rehearsing. They lose in the mirror before they ever step onto the field. But you now see clearly the battlefield is not out there. It's here, in the 6 inches between your ears, in the beliefs you carry like bricks, in the identity you've been rehearsing instead of rewriting. Because the greatest prison is not made of walls. It is built from thoughts that say, this is all I'll ever be. And the greatest revolution, it doesn't begin with a crowd. It begins with one man standing alone, choosing to think differently. You want wealth? Then act wealthy in discipline. You want freedom? Then act free in how you think. You want power? Then act powerful in the face of fear. Act as if, because this is not about pretending, and this is about remembering. Remembering who you were before fear was taught to you, before systems told you to shrink, before statistics tried to define your worth. You came here with vision, with intuition, with the fire of a creator buried beneath the noise. And that fire is not gone. It is simply waiting for your signal. So give it. Fan the flame, break the script, burn the rule book written by people who never dared to write their own. This is your time. This is the moment when you stop being the man who waits and become the one who commands. And command doesn't mean aggression. It doesn't mean noise. It means clarity. It means calm in the storm. It means walking into chaos and knowing you cannot be shaken, because you no longer move based on what's around you. You move based on what's within you. And what's within you, once awakened, is unstoppable. It is the same force that moved Lincoln to lead in the face of division. The same force that moved Carnegie to build when he had nothing. The same force that moved Helen Keller to speak louder than any voice in history. It is the force of decision, and the decision is this: I will act as if I am already aligned with my highest self. Not because I need validation, but because I am done negotiating with doubt. You don't need more proof. You don't need more applause. You need to look in the mirror and say, I'm done performing for a world I was born to transform. And the transformation begins here, in how you rise in the morning, in how you speak to yourself when no one is around, in how you handle silence, rejection, resistance. Act as if those things serve you. Act as if every delay is divine. Act as if the darkness is training you for a throne. Because it is. Nothing has been wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the closed doors, not the missed chances. Every setback was sacred. Every loss was language. Every pain was permission to become more than what they expected. So now build. Build with your words. Build with your walk. Build with your eyes fixed on a reality that exists first in your mind. Because when the mind moves, matter obeys. Do you understand? Everything you want is not waiting in the distance. It is waiting inside the man you've been too afraid to fully become. And the only way to become him is to act like he already exists. Speak with his confidence. Walk with his pace. Move with his standard. Decide with his certainty. And soon the world will see what you've always known. They will say, how did he do it? How did he rise? How did he create something from nothing? And the answer will not be luck. It will not be timing. It will not be approval. It will be this: I acted as if, until I no longer had to. Because the vision became reality. The man became message. The thought became fact. And when that happens, when your inner world becomes so aligned, so deliberate, so pure in belief, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. This is how you win, not once, but daily, in private, in silence, in decisions no one will ever understand. That's how empires are built, and that's how kings are crowned, and that's how legacies are born. So now I leave you with this. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop shrinking, and start building, as if the world is already being shaped by your hands, because it is. And when you wake tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, you will not rise as a man who hopes. You will rise as a man who knows, and you will move as if everything is working for you. Because it is. It always was. It just needed you to believe it first.